Nadszedł czas zmiany, przejścia do prawdziwego działania wszechświata. I nadszedł czas, aby zrozumieć, że używamy stanu materii, by osiągnąć poziom zrozumienia duszy człowieka. Teraz rozumiesz, być może, dlaczego Kreator wysłał swoich posłańców w imię tego, co miałeś. To oni przynoszą uszy, aby można było ich użyć, gdy nadejdzie czas Mesjasza. Mogę nauczyć duszę i przesłanie. Nie by się przeciwstawiać, ale poprzez ich zrozumienie przez tych, którzy stali się Mesjaszami, aby dawać ze swoich dusz, aby ich elewować. Zadanie stało się łatwe. Szkoła jest tutaj i uczniowie są tutaj w oddaniu. Wtedy nie będzie żadnej walki między tym, co nazywają muzułmanami, a chrześcijanami. Baranek i lew będą jeść i spać w tym samym gnieździe. Chrześcijanie i muzułmanie będą spać i modlić się w meczecie, w tym samym kościele, w imię ich dusz, nie w imię religii, które są używane do tworzenia tak wielu konfliktów, dla korzyści tych, którzy byli hiperaktywnymi dziećmi. Nadszedł czas, czas zmian jest tutaj. I jak powiedziałem, moje życzenie jest moim rozkazem. Jeśli pragniesz ujrzeć pokój, droga pokoju jest wyłożona bardzo wyraźnie. To dusza świadomości zbiorowej. Poprzez dawanie stworzy tą pozycję zmiany. Nic innego. W duszy człowieka nie ma długopisu. I jestem pewien, że po wejściu do społeczności uniwersalnej nigdy nie zobaczysz niczego zapisanego, ale równowagę pól duszy egzystencji. Staraj się być na tyle pokornym, aby nie stać się aroganckim w mocy, którą zrozumiałeś i posiadłeś. Inaczej wpadniesz w tą samą ścieżkę kościoła i meczetu. To jest to, co obiecaliśmy i to właśnie dostarczyliśmy. Musimy zrozumieć działanie duszy. I musimy zrozumieć, że dusza człowieka jest gwiazdą w kosmosie wszechświata. Jeśli porównamy duszę człowieka i tak wielu nas, 7 miliardów w jednym zbiorze, Ziemia jest jak galaktyka z tak wieloma gwiazdami. Kiedy patrzymy w głąb wszechświata, widzimy galaktyki z setkami milionów gwiazd. Podobnie jest z planetą Ziemią. Niesie 7 miliardów pięknych gwiazd, które są duszą człowieka. Niesie z sobą duszę tak wielu trylionów zwierząt, roślin i wszystkiego innego. Jeśli więc patrzą ci, którzy nie widzą fizyczności Ziemi i jej zawartości, co widzą? Widzą galaktykę z wielką ilością pięknych, świecących świateł. Każda według swojej siły. Każda zgodnie ze swoją pozycją. Niemowlę ma piękną duszę, podobnie jak staruszek. Dla tych niefizycznych, którzy nie widzą fizycznego wymiaru tej planety, ale widzą siłę pola, jesteśmy gromadami gwiazd. Ludzka rasa, każda pojedyncza dusza, nikt z daleka nie widzi. To jest dusza rybaka, to jest dusza kosmologa, to jest dusza prezydenta. Wszystkie świecą bez względu na fizyczność. To jest magia. Oto co nowa nauka musi przynieść człowiekowi. Kiedy patrzymy przez naszą duszę, widzimy tylko gwiazdy w innych duszach. I to jest przełom, to jest zrozumienie. Na tym właśnie polegają te wszystkie nauki. Dojście do dojrzałości następnego poziomu, aby zrozumieć daleki kosmos. Wszechświat jest ostrygą dla tych dusz, które służą. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy do wejścia w kosmos. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy, aby stać się częścią uniwersalnej społeczności, która została obiecana. Nigdy nie obiecywałem wam nieba. Zawsze obiecywałem wam elewację człowieka, aby przyłączył się do rodziny. A teraz macie klucz. To wy musicie otworzyć drzwi, aby zrozumieć, że mogę elewować duszę tych ludzi lub milionów innych dusz, że fizyczne życie na tej planecie zmieni się. Wtedy jestem godny bycia częścią społeczności uniwersalnej, by być, aby służyć, aby się rozwijać, by być tam, aby być częścią, że w cyklu życia wszechświata staje się w byciu częścią, staje się częścią totalności. Kiedy człowiek osiągnie ten punkt, pojawi się nowy wymiar w sile duszy człowieka, który jest poza wyobrażeniem zrozumienia życia fizycznego. To jest brama do otwarcia nowego życia w nowym wymiarze, co jest poza wyobrażeniem tego, co mogliście nazwać nowym początkiem, nowym cyklem, gdzie ten cykl niesie ze sobą źródło stworzenia życia we wszechświecie i unikosie. To jest elewacja duszy, aby służyć. Stała się kluczem. Nie tron życia fizycznego. Czas jest odpowiedni, nadszedł czas, aby człowiek przeszedł przez ten proces.
Witamy wszystkich na 425 warsztatach poszukiwaczy wiedzy w języku polskim. Dzisiaj mamy niedzielę, 20 grudzień 2020 rok, a tematem jest dalsza część 358 warsztatu poszukiwaczy wiedzy i przetłumaczony czas na dzisiaj to od godziny 31 do 2 godzin 1 minuty 33 sekund. Od 2 godzin 12 do 2 godzin 56, od 3:21 minut do 3:30 minut, od 3:40 do 4:06 minut. W tych fragmentach jeszcze są takie króciutkie przerwy, około minuty, 2 minut. Tak więc zapraszam do wysłuchania, obejrzenia, a po warsztacie zapraszam do rozmów, zadawania pytań, na które postaramy się odpowiedzieć. Tak więc zapraszam.
In so many ways, would you like to be the moon in respect to be seen from the earth, that one side always stays in the darkness? And that's what the soul of the man who misconducts will be. In so many ways, the totality of the understanding of the knowledge is how to tap into the universal field forces of the universe, that one can first receive the fields of the universe and through it receive the knowledge. Those who mature to understand the process which is on the screen will find out this is not the knowledge just to feed to survive. You tap into the universal knowledge through the field forces of the universe. In a way, this is a path not only to dimension of existence, but is the path to the knowledge of the creation. Many of you will fail to cross as you light. Many of you will try to convert and diverge as you cannot find a path, as you have deceived. And many of you will never reach as you have betrayed your own soul, and you have no one to blame for. This is why I always said, you ask, and if you are given, is your right. Then you do not need to steal. You do not need to deceive your own soul to the dimension of misconduct. In so many ways, in the coming weeks, we show more structures that the physical man will be happy with. But remember one thing, how you position and how you place and what space gap you choose between the souls will dictate what you receive. Those who receive and achieve full harmony will see the light of the creation and the Creator, and you shall be with me. Those who deceive and do not understand will have that side in the darkness. When I ask a question, answer the correct way, that you will not be in that position. I ask, is I the soul of the man, not I as me. That in presence of another soul, you have never been ashamed of deceiving your own soul, that they can see. If you can deceive your own soul, why you should not deceive me? This is what I said in all the teachings in past years. Souls shall not lie. And as somebody tells me all the time, so the soul can see, but the soul is ashamed to tell you the truth in what he sees, and the deception and lies. It's you who has to be, from now on, the judge of the conduct, not on the day of judgment, on the moment of existence. Then there shall be no court. As you judge correct and you deliver correct in the path of the development of your own soul. The only way that the man's soul will not progress will be due to his own conduct and the misconduct between the soul of physicality and the soul of the man. As when the soul of the physicality is within the soul of the man, it still is answerable to all his conduct, as now the soul of the man manifests and represents the soul of physicality in the dimension of the creation. By hiding and being part of the soul of the man inside does not make nor the soul of the man nor the soul of physicality to misconduct. As the soul of the man shall never misconduct, as is the representation of the soul of the Creator. The teaching of the today has heard by all citizens of the Unicos, and we salute you to your existence. It has to be understood that we teach through the vibration, through the existence, through the knowledge of the universe and Unicos, not in the presentation, manifestation of the physicality. Even though the Creator has chosen the beauty of the planet Earth for the time being. That time is short, and the mankind has not got much time. You've got to understand the creation and the teaching of one cup, one food, is to feed man across the universe and not on this planet. Unless the man chooses the path through the diversion and conversion of the fields within this planet to become the passenger of the universe in a dimension of no physical existence. Otherwise, you'll take into the cars, the donkeys and UFOs, and you still stay with the dimension of the physicality of the conformation of the transformation. As of today, we abolish all religions. And as today, we abolish all kingships and leaderships. As the man from today will take charge of his own soul, as he knows how to look after and feed itself. It's the end of the religions and the end of the kingship and leadership. As the man, as of today, has been mature to reach the point of maturity of understanding the creation and the Creator. And it's upon him to strengthen these fields of the understanding to be correct in conduct. In so many ways, from today, you are responsible for the soul that you have and the souls that you will create as your offsprings in the universe. We shall not allow more than one soul to be created out of one being. Combination of the two shall lead to the creation of the new life. The reason for it being to create a perfect life and a perfect child in the dimension of the creation will take all the resources of the creation, that there shall be no mistake. In so many ways, understanding the totality will take the totality of the two to nourish and to develop that single soul. The soul of the universe depends on the totality of the souls which are created from the boundary and the beauty and the bounty of the fields within it, and not by the choice of the color of the hair and the skin. We move in the dimension of the creation. Those who betray us will sit in their own position, as we said, on the dark side, where themselves deprive their own dimension of the creation. Now, you have been taught, as the rest of the universe, how to move from the dimension of the physicality into the realm of the creation and life of the universe. Now you understand why weeks ago I told you about the cup of life, about the structure of the field of the 5 cups, not about the cups. Those of you who got entangled in the waters and the ganses of it meant you have not even understood. Those of you who start looking in the field interaction, this part from now on will be easy for you to understand, unless you become arrogant in understanding of the knowledge. If you understand this, you feed the soul of the man, and with it, you feed the soul of the physicality for the creation and manifestation of the man. You feed the soul of the man to give it the position and the time and the place to travel into the space at the position and the time is your desire. There is no need for transportation, as the magnetic field of the universe will take you to the position and destination, even into the heart of the soul of your lover. Which is the creator. If you understand this, there is no limitation for no soul to reach to that point. We have spoken. And now it's for mankind to decide. Some of you will take time, and some of you will fall flat on your face, as you choose the path of physicality and the exile of your souls for centuries to come within the span of the universe. Some of you will take the path to see and be within the path of the Creator and the elevation of the soul. But in all, the creation of the new cycle is about to happen, and there is no way it shall stop. Even for those who lie and cheat to hide the time and the place. In so many ways, if you understand the field process of what is on the screen, and understand in totality the motion of the fields and the reason they move in this dimension and direction, mankind will progress according to interpretation and understanding of the structure. As I said in the teaching yesterday, in Rick's teaching in the workshop, I said the primary stage of the teaching of today, yesterday at Rick's teaching, and I asked him to withhold his teaching till today. As now you understand partially what was taught in his teaching, because there is a secret hidden in that conversation, which is the key to the existence. You might hear it. As long as you don't understand the call of the Creator, you shall be blind to it. The process of us releasing knowledge is through the souls we trust and to those who give our lives and souls to. In so many ways, it's your responsibility to understand how from today you shall feed your soul and the soul of those who you love and those who you do not know, that no man shall be hungry on this planet from today on, as we have given you the full knowledge. In hunger, you can elevate the soul and the soul of physicality, that no man feels the warmth of the desert or the snow mountains of North Pole, as the physicality of the man becomes in protection of the soul of the man. It's the soul which dictates and decides which one to enjoy. From now on, transportation becomes, in a way, how you travel the span of the universe, more than if you can go from one village to another or one city to another. For this reason, we have brought a new dimension to the power of the Universal Councils. And this is why the Universal Council has been restructuring itself in the past few weeks to be able to take the position which is given to them from today on. All the present religions and their structure are answerable to Universal Council and to be obedient to the wish. This is our wish and shall be done. As we abolish the religions from today on, they need the guidance to go through the transition of developing the souls of those who have followed their path to the point of maturity of understanding. As we have seen the changes in Brazil through a priest and the church start teaching his flock to understand the work of the plasma, that the man of his belief and way will become mature fast in understanding the work of the Creator. In so many ways, we have developed a cycle through the structure of the religions themselves to speed up the process of the teaching of the soul in the coming weeks and months. Now, maybe now, mankind will become wise to the totality of the teaching for past 7 years. And in the next 3 months, so we'll reach the beginning of the life of the cycle in Northern Hemisphere of this planet. We prepare mankind for arrival of a new knowledge, a new cycle, and a new birth in understanding of the humanity and the rest of the universe. In so many ways, we truly welcome you to understanding of the universal knowledge that is you who will decide to become a citizen. From now on is the freedom of the man. How you will structure the fields will dictate what you will receive, in what level, as once you achieve and release the fields and receive the fields appropriate to the strength of your soul, then you shall see the light. As the interaction of the fields is as the strength of yours, and you'll be enlightened with the knowledge of the creation. And we shall be waiting for you to see how many of you will shine. Not you as one, but you as the totality of the creation in the universe. I hope today's teaching will bring a new dimension to the knowledge seekers who really and truly seek the knowledge of the creation, not one cup, and not one generator, and not one magnet system, as all is within the teaching of today. I hope with this, we disarm governments and those who want to govern by false fields and those who lie to us and cheat. As from now on, we don't need to look to soul, your physicality will speak the truth. And then, gradually you shall learn how to be correct in conduct, and then learn how to be the citizens of this universe. As I said, in the coming weeks, we teach more in a fundamental way, and it's for the knowledge seekers to start teaching. You taught one cup, one life. Now teach one cup, one universe, in a way to feed yourself from the fields of the universe that you do not need to depend on this planet and because of it to kill, to lie and cheat. I hope man will start enjoying this trip, as it's been a harsh way for thousands of years to get mankind to this point of understanding that as we speak, our voice is heard by the ear of the man in every corner of this planet, from Brazil to China, from Australia to United Kingdom. Our kingdom covers the span of this planet and beyond, and we shall rule our way through correct conduct and justice. Now you understand who wears the crown of knowledge seeker, to seek knowledge that with it becomes equal to the others. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Yeah, I was muted on both channels, so I couldn't speak. Can you repeat that, please, the question?
Okay, the question is regarding the making of the cup, and Manaz in the YouTube is saying that, let me see,
The Cup of Lives, all cups now are available from the Keshe Foundation website.
right.
And we dispatch immediately. There is a stock, so it's just a matter of getting it out. And there's a structure which is built by the Keshe Foundation China. We most probably release it in next week or so. It's completed. That you can make cups of life in the structure of what do you call like the agricultural unit in mass production. You can make cup 1, cup 2 in that structure. This has been completed as part of the structure of the Keshe Foundation products. We got to understand, we'll look at the fields of understanding. And the process is actually the way the fields interact and how you create that condition of interaction of the magnetic gravitational field of each structure together. In so many ways, once you lead to 3, that will lead to the creation of the center, the soul itself. This is why, as we said before, if you're in the physical dimension, you create 4. But if you understand the field forces, the working of the universe, the 3 will create the same. As the interaction balance field forces of the 3 will create the 4th, which is the collection of the fields and the interaction with the fields of the universe. Those who mature to the point of understanding the world of the creation and achieve to reach the level of the understanding of the creation will come to one point, to the one point of maturity, where the soul of the man with the soul of the physicality will create a field for balance of interaction, where this field for balance, in balancing the 2, will create the 4th. And you can create within the soul of the man a condition of the creation of creator. Only condition, only ever has ever reached this point has been the creator himself. In creating the image of itself, has created the interaction between the 2, and with controlling the position of that has led to creation of the field forces of creation of the universe. Maybe man understands what it means when he say, I made woman out of the ribcage of my own inner being. That with it, I've created a condition of interaction. This knowledge is hidden to man, and man will never understand. Any other question?
Well, perhaps it's appropriate to address the question in the Q&A first from Hassan, and then we have Azar and Gatwa with hands up.
Why
So
do we get the same people all the time?
I knew you were going to
And we have
say
somebody
that.
else.
Well, maybe they need to change their names like you were suggesting.
Yes, I suggest that I'll come as Susie very soon. Yeah, nobody knows I'm there.
Azar could be George, and Gatwa could be
somebody else's.
Who knows? Well, we have a question from Hassan who asks, Mr. Keshe, when you talk about the correct conduct, is this correct conduct the same on Earth and in the universe? I mean by that, if we achieve the correct conduct on Earth, does it mean that we already achieve the correct conduct of the universe? Or are the rules of the universe different than those on Earth? Thank you.
Correct conduct is correct conduct, doesn't matter where you are. Understanding what your interaction brings and being acceptable by the others for the condition you create to be. This is why I keep on repeating it to, as understood fully. When you ask and you are given, you do not create a new condition, as the condition is created by the ones who has given you the permission. As if you are refused, you have to create a condition that is acceptable. As you have been given, is not your responsibility anymore, as you create a condition that fails for the new arrangement to be set up, that the field forces of the universe take their own position. And this is very hard for many people to understand. Until you don't understand, you suffer, because you see that somebody else's fault is not what I gave the permission to and I agreed with. This is what went wrong with Moses, the same with process of the Christ. Any other question?
It's a difficult one for me to describe. How do the beings that are present feed from the fields of the planet Earth?
You have to, let me put my headphone, it's easier to talk. Just one second. Is it better now? And you can't hear me breathing, I hope. No complaint from Mr. Crammond.
No, it sounds good.
Breathing in the background. Sounds good, okay. There is a fundamental point which many of you as knowledge seekers talk about it, see it, write about it. You make some systems because you understand it, and when it comes to you, you forget. And that is in the world of science of the plasma. We always say that the stronger, the one which has more field of the higher strength, gives to the weaker. But what does really mean this in the terminology of understanding the man? And that is to receive, you have to be in weaker position or weaker strength, that with it you open the channels to receive. Doesn't mean that you have to be feeble. It means to know what to give at the higher order to receive at the lower. It means man has to become humble. Or the soul, your microphone is open, can you close the microphone please? Or your soul needs to understand its position. And it is the responsibility of the man to understand this. It's not just you make a patch double the size of the other one in the one, and you say the field transfer from one to another, from the stronger to weaker. So if you are the weaker to receive, you have to understand at what level the universe works. That is so humble that it can receive. One of the weakest continuous position is a neutron. As a singularity, it can maintain and live on its own. And there are what we call packages of energies as neutron, which have been from the time of the creation of the universe, and they are still in this universe. And there are neutrons which have been established from the time of the unicos, and they're still in existence, because they have managed to create a balanced field of giving and taking, that they give enough that they receive as the strength. So when you look and set up these systems, look how humble can you become, that you come even lower than the soul of the system. Otherwise you become the feeder of it. And you say it doesn't work. I made them, but it doesn't feed me. Because you're still arrogant enough to think you made it, so I control it. Now you understand what we said from the beginning. And that is, pray for the systems you make. As by praying to them, you're a servant to them. And with it, you establish the point and the level of humbleness.
Mr. Keshe, can I ask, will the cups, once you make the cups, will it feed just yourself, or can you feed more than one physicality? Can you feed more souls?
Can you make them as humble as you, if you can feed yourself with it?
They need to be giving souls to receive.
You never think I have to give to receive. It's my obligation to give, but without condition. And what do I give? As I was explaining one of the teachings, for past years I've given and taught unconditionally, never asked for anything. and that released the knowledge of the creation that anyone else would have made a fortune in the paper money of the man. My wealth comes from my spreading the knowledge, not from receiving anything. I survived. I've survived on this planet for thousands of years, and I've seen every position of it, from kingship to the soldier, foot soldier, to a man in the deserts under a tree.
Thank you for the beauty of the knowledge and the beauty of your soul, Mr. Keshe. It's the more that the information that you give, the knowledge you give, the more humble we become. This universal knowledge is of such an essence, of such a beauty that for many, they just need to come to this field strength to understand what's being given. And I think, as you know, it's a filtering process that for some, it just takes a little while longer. But we all get to the position at some point.
As I said, it takes some a lifetime of universe, and it takes some a few seconds. And some in the process of life, they mature to it.
You always said, Mr. Keshe, it only takes one. So one pure soul that we have the universal systems, and you produce a way to feed. We have the universal systems that you've given that will produce a soul. That pure soul, is that the soul that's going to, as you said before, change humanity, bring forward a new dimension of non-physicality?
Why do you think only for man, where the Creator thinks about the whole of universe? Why mankind always think he's the only one who's going to receive and move? As I said many times in the teaching, we teach in the voice of the man, but in the soul of the universe.
I think it's because, Mr. Keshe, we always think that the unicos, the beings, would already be in a position to have the knowledge.
Really, the universal community is very much like the human race. We have those who just found out about how to make a knife and how to hunt and how to build a home. And we have those who are based systems that are in space. We don't look at the life as man's life on this planet. We look at the life. You have the animals who just been created in past few days for the first time on this planet. The creation of life in different shape and form never stops on this planet. So it's a combination of the information of the fields, and it's the same in the universe. We have stars which the first seed of life has been seeded on them today, somewhere in the universe. And we have those lives who are ancient time philosophers of understanding some of the knowledge of the creation. There's no difference between the village of Earth and the village of the unicos. It's a spectrum from those who created new to those who have managed to understand part of. One of the most important things for mankind to understand, maybe out of his arrogance does not want to, is that many animals have more understanding of the world of the creation in the true essence than the human do. And when you see, oh, they do this and that because they understand they're part of the physical structure of the fields of the universe. Just because mankind makes a chair and sit on it does not make him any cleverer than an animal who knows how to travel the span of a continent or a planet to feed itself from one point to another. He understands more about the work of the fields of the universe than the man does. What if I leave you in the middle of the desert, how you find through the magnetic fields of your soul the direction home? But the bird does. Some animals do. The fishes do in the ocean of this planet. Mankind knows very little about the world of true world of creation.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe, for that that knowledge. It always makes me in my physical body smile when you speak such wonderful things. And I know my soul. I believe my soul. I know my soul smiles back, shines when you speak those beautiful things. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you for taking my questions. Thank you.
You
Mr. Keshe, speaking about the creation, Shania asks in the YouTube, could you talk more about the rib issue you mentioned earlier?
This is what has come into the history of the man, that as is in some of the holy books, is that Adam made Eve from the rib of him. And there are many jokes about it over the centuries about this rib and the creator. And in a way, I made my own creation out of myself. For me, not to be alone, but for me to have one to love, be that I can love, and through it I can create something that will be me in generation or in the cycle to come. As is in the Old Testaments. But there are so many things about how this cycle is. In a way, if you talk about the rib, is having the same but little less that I confirm my own existence. And if we call the atom the neutron, and in allowing a part of it to call it becomes an electron, then they both can exist as a proton and as an electron. We just change the name. In essence, those days it was very hard to explain this to the man, so it was easy for it to be Adam and Eve, as it came from a rib. But in fact, it's a process of the generation of life in the universe. Understanding that in conformation of one coming from the other, you can interact to live within the existence of the environment of itself. That's all. Now we become wiser, we can scientifically see it. That time you couldn't explain to people that the neutron is split into electron and proton. That one can create life out of itself.
Mr. Keshe, there's it snowed again at the top of Linz, where I'm staying, and
It snowed all over Austria, I think, today.
has it? I have not seen the news.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad you are. And thank you very much, Rick, for having this page up. Now, Mr. Keshe, I have said that in recent times that your teachings become more profound every day, every time you teach. If I were to rate all your teachings, I would rate these as the most profound so far. So we expect more profound teachings in the future, and I look forward to those. Now about this structure, I want to confirm the structure, and then I will ask a few questions.
Yep.
Am I right
Doesn't mean we have to answer, huh? Rix will answer you, no problem.
I understand that very much. But what appears to be in the center here, the soul of man, the cup, if I'm looking at these as reactors, so am I correct to assume that would be above the others, that the base ones are cup 2 on top?
No, we are not telling you anything, you decide.
Okay.
Put one on top
Okay.
of a mountain, one under the table, wherever, you decide.
Okay.
A lot of you decided to stack the 5 together upright. I didn't understand something, and in another way, if all the horizontal being were supposed to go upright, what happened to the vertical one? The vertical went upright as well, and I looked at everybody made the matter state the same upright. I thought, don't they understand what they read? If you're a horizontal, why do you put it vertical on top of each other? So we explain it in that manner.
It's not so easy to understand, but to you it looks very easy. But of course, as you have...
It's not easy, it's understanding the principle of the interaction of the field.
Yes, and I really want to understand...
Let me explain to you. We have a guy called Dr. Assadi in Iran. Now he proclaims that the technology was there in Iran and is his, and I've cheated, I've stolen everything from them. But he's a very religious man. And what he did, he made this cup of 5 cups parallel to his bed, not upright condition. And he sleeps in the direction of Mecca. And the direction of God says, man shall not lie. And it's just a physicality, it is that direction. The soul is still in the process of cheating. And he made that, and he was telling me, I made this parallel with me. Does it make any difference? Where does the soul of the cup sit with you if it's in parallel with you? Or do you sleep upright? You understand? You got to decide in which way what do you expect to achieve and what energies you expect to receive. how you perceive it. Is it just you? Now you understand it's not you. It's more than you. We had this in a I started teaching this about 5 years ago, but it got lost because in the process, some of the knowledge seekers went the wrong way with it. And that was when the guy called Ali in Canada. Actually, if we would have carried on with the teaching at that time with him, many of you would have reached these points there and then, but people were not ready and he got carried away in a different direction. But in the process, we have taught everything. It's just now you didn't understand, now we make it to understand. In
Thank you very
different
much
way.
for making us understand.
I hope. I hope. I
Yeah.
know I'm going to get told very soon by head of the Keshe Foundation, you have to explain the specificity in the specific. And in the teaching of today, I was trying to be very specific.
I have two questions.
Yeah.
At least two. First of all, am
How
I
long do
correct
we
to
have? A whole
assume-
day or a year?
No, just very fast. Am I correct to assume that if this star formation is to feed the man, the soul of man, whereas the soul of man feeds the physicality, is it correct to assume that there will be another formation, star formation to feed plants and to feed livestock or animals?
Excuse me. Who said it's humanity? We taught you universal way of feeding. Why again man became the center?
I would have to change
Did I
the card.
Did I connect anything to anything? I just showed you how to connect the center point and the soul. You still can't change it.
Thank you very much. I understand now. Okay, the final question is, I'm trying to understand the fields as you have emphasized in recent times and forever.
So you
You have
started
always
what?
emphasized. Understand the fields, how the fields flow, and the
Fields.
way of fields, gravitational magnetic fields.
Yeah.
So I believe for each three of these, a free plasma is formed.
Not
And
necessarily.
Then the
Not
free
necessarily.
plasma, not necessary. Okay.
Not necessarily.
But let me explain the way I saw it. I see it, and then you can perhaps correct me if I'm wrong. So between each three of these, so I'm looking at three triangles or star formations. I think there will be a free plasma between each three. And those free plasma
always is. That's what you call free plasma. We call it the fourth structure of the star formation. I just explained for the creation. Yeah.
Okay. And now those three free plasmas that I imagine that I see them right here, when they interact, they form the soul, the super soul.
We don't have a super soul. Each structure creates its own dynamic free flow. And even those three dynamic free flows and they interact with each other. If you move one of these four in a specific position and condition, you might create a fourth one. The way we do in a star formation. Or you choose to keep everything on the same level, and in a way, the center of your, depends how you create it, the field you created. If you manage to create it, the soul of the total structure sits in the center of the middle one. In a way, if you look at it, if you get it perfectly right, in every aspect, the center of the soul of the whole system will sit here. But it's not just making everything on one plane, making sure that the field forces are in a position, in a strength. Then it comes, how many tens of the tube do you take? Is it the left hand or the right hand? Is it 1 centimeter deeper in the salt or 2 centimeters higher in the salt? That's your problem, not mine. But if you could get the field forces correct, in a way, your soul should sit somewhere in the center of the cup. Or can you create a condition that every center is an equal center? That is unique. Then there is no field for transformation. Point of justice. The beauty of the Creator.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe, for sharing this knowledge freely. And I am now sure, even though we are supposed to go on break, I'm sure that I don't have a break to go to. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you indeed.
There was a question in the Q&A from Viviana, and it's questions from seekers of the Italian group. It's got to do with the cups. First question about the star formation. Is it important to do all the cups, or can you do the 1, 2, and 5, for example? And a second question is similar from another seeker. To elevate the soul.
What do you mean 1, 2, and 5?
And leave out 3 and 4.
we let me go this way. We thought the way works in the universe, you can create any combination you like. And then we see some people say, destroy all the cups, this and that too. You do, they want to, let them destroy the cups. And then some people make 3 of number 1 and 2 of number 2. This is the beauty of the knowledge. This is how the creation has become diverse. There is no formula pattern written. We don't create 7 billion vaccines exactly the same. There is not a single thing in the universe which has a copy.
So would it be true in the formation of souls as well, that they get, you know, they might miss a cup or 2 here and there, and end up being sort of not complete.
In a limbo.
In a way. Mm-hmm.
Becoming in a limbo. You see, there is a
Sorry, go ahead.
There's a knowledge which we cannot share at this moment of time with man. This knowledge will be released in March. The knowledge is already on the table. But as I said, mankind do not see it. You don't have the insight into the structure of the creation. And this is the way it'll work. There is a key to unravel the line of what I call energy or fields or knowledge into the whole cycle of the creation. We still teach you still test and make things, but mankind is not ready for that step. That step will come on 21st of March in the beautiful city of Tehran, where Mitra came from, in the land of Zoroaster, where the beginning of the belief in the Creator was set. It's not just because I'm Iranian or born there. This is the way we set it up. This is the way we want it to be. It's just like you set up a party, you decide what flower goes on which table and who sits at what table. Doesn't mean you're not invited to the party, but the structure, completion of that essence of completion start is said to be that day, that time. And we had to choose a place. We're better than where we started from, to finish with and take man from the dimension of the village of the earth into the universal community. We chose the time and the place because we set the party, because we see everybody be ready and mature by that time. Don't forget, next 3 months in the life of man is one season. In the universe does not even come to a second of it. Is man life circulation, circling around his own star, which has become his time and reference. In the universe, we don't have such a thing. There is no time and space because we have no point of reference where we go to and what is there to be. This is why we don't have time and space. Because we have no sun to rotate around, not even a unicos. Not even at the center being the creator.
Mr. Keshe, Salamia has a question in the Q&A, has a hand up as well, but has a couple of questions that are related.
Can you read the questions?
The one question, well, the first one is, she says, we are light. The entanglement of light is possible because they say that the photons can't be entangled. I think that the light can be entangled, and this is the
but you have to see. You have to see what you call we are the light. We are not really the light. When we come in interaction with another fields, in our interaction with it, we manifest ourselves as a fields that you might call light. We have aura around us, but nobody sees it because the fields are not strong enough for it. Even we put 80 kilos of ganses in it or 100 kilo of ganses in it. Is it because the field forces of the gans of our body is not strong enough in comparison to field forces of the earth? We will be a bunch of light walking everywhere. Or we have decided in the structure of our life to pull in some of the fields of our creation, interaction between our soul and the physicality and the soul of the planet, that we can physically be seen. Go by the rules and the principles of light absorption. The colors we see of an object is the color which is not absorbed by the object. Doesn't this apply the same to the man? We are seen with what our soul does not absorb. And if mankind understands this, mankind understands how he can make himself appear and disappear and how to look. As I said, you can have a blue eyes today and a green one tomorrow, and you'll be black haired this morning and blonde in the afternoon without going to the hairdresser, because you work with the soul. We have to understand this. This is the problem.
Well, that gets into her second question, which is, what is the link between information and light, or the carrier of light, photons?
It depends. To you is the light, to me is information. Depends how you decipher it. It's the same as you look at the end of the, what do you call, the cables. You see a light, but when that light ends up in another machine at the end, becomes the information that it can be translated to what it means. If you cut a fiberglass which carries information and look at it, you just see a flickering of light, it's a light. But if you end it up in a machine somewhere else which understands how to decipher this light, it's the information.
One person uses it as a flashlight, and another person can transfer all the knowledge of a computer through it.
To translate it, that knowledge, the flickering of it, and the strength of it, and the length of it, and the rest of it. In the future, when you have these fiberglass, if you understand in a terminology, it will even carry the emotion of the information, not just the information. When I tell you, I love you, do I mean it with loving care, or do I mean because I have to say, and do I say it with anger because you said you love me, so I have to have something to say? You feel the emotion of it, not just by word of it.
I'm trying to envision how that gets carried by, how that aspect of information gets carried by light. How is that?
You have to take the matter state limitation of the carrier. You see, if I sit in front of you and don't say anything and just with eyes smile, you smile back. There is no need to say, no word said. And there is no fiberglass to carry it. It's the emotion which is carried by it, by the fields of observation. And you see somebody's, the back to say, so I can see you laughing because I had that emotion that you're happy, or you're laughing at me, I'm stupid, whatever. I know what that laugh means. It's becoming wise to the transfer of the energy in how it's transferred. The new technologies systems which will come out will carry this. In the enhancement unit, we built this deliberately. There's a structure inside the enhancement unit that this is why enhancement units are emotion, they handle the emotion and the physicality, because it's in their parameter. We have put a structure deliberately to carry emotion. It's the first time ever a system has inherently built in emotion.
Mr. Keshe, you mentioned the light of a smile, and that's sort of a contagious, as they say, or laughter and smiling and joy and so on. Now we have a situation where people are wearing masks everywhere, and so our lower part of our face is covered up. So now we have to look at different visual clues to...
Now you understand why Muhammad said cover the eye of the woman. Now the mouth is covered, he can't see except the eye.
And that's
now
it.
You understand
now
the power
you
of
start
the
to see
vision.
if someone's laughing or they agree with you, or they're kind of are tuned into your space through the eyes, and that's all that's left. And if we have to cover the eyes, then we're obligated to just work with our feelings directly.
Oh, it's like a blind man, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. So in a way, this is another blessing of the coronavirus.
Of the corona.
Forces people to go more inside rather than the external clues, which are sometimes contradictory. Someone could be laughing and ready to shoot you at the same time, or whatever. So.
There was an article somewhere, or a joke somewhere. It says, they banned us, they cursed us, now they become us. It was a Muslim woman with a burqa.
Yes, exactly. Last year you weren't allowed to go into a bank with a burqa on. This year you have to go into a bank with a burqa on.
They haven't proven yet that the virus can be transmitted by the look or by the eye. If somebody can confirm that it can be done, then you will see we all walking with the cameras inside the box. We have to walk, we can't even look. I'm waiting for that one to come. Somebody confirms that the virus transferred through the eye.
Well,
because we have it, huh? We have it.
Yeah, that's why they wear goggles in the emergency places, so they don't get the spray into their eyes, which can supposedly transfer the virus.
Yeah, it's interesting, but it's we had
more physical than you mean, I think.
Yeah, it is very interesting how what we were banned to do now we have to do. They passed a law in the French Parliament and in some European countries banning covering the face. Now they force you, but they don't say we have such a law. If you really want to follow the rule, says it's in the law, I cannot cover my face. Now you have to go in the Parliament and make it undone that you can, you have to wear a mask. It's a very, very touchy situation at the moment with this, because there are so many laws has been passed to be able to see face recognition. How do you now recognize faces with the masks on, huh? In the office in Beijing, we have this face recognition. We had it when we had to go in. All the Chinese are about 1.20 meters, 1.40 meters with their eye level. And I had to bend to get my face, and you could always never not get the face right away because you don't know how much you bend to get to the camera. And it's a perception of the vision by the system. How you can be recognized. And how do we recognize now with the masks?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Mr. Keshe. I'm sharing something new. Now in China, the train station
on each of them, there's this little line connecting this cord. What are those little lines? There's another.
These pictures are taken from the set. If you look, when we show the first pictures of the set, it's done by the Keshe Foundation Hollis.
Okay, perhaps we can hear from Salamia next.
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Hello, everybody. I would like to ask you what is energy regarding to light and fields. You said that fields are the interaction of two twin cosmic rays, divine rays, how do you call this? Not important the name. And this interaction of these two cosmic ray creates fields and creates energy from these fields. What is the place of light in this equation, not equation, in this context? And if light can be particle and wave, you said that fields are particle in this new type of physics.
No, we have explained this, the difference between particles and fields, or photons and waves, or whatever you call it, in how it comes to be and which one is which. And most of the waves eventually become particle, because in the interaction with the other fields, they find the balanced fields and they become a plasma. Is the point of us, I mean, is the time and the position of the observation. All the fields, one way or another, long term become particles.
This was an animation that we came up with a few years ago to sort of indicate one way of approaching it.
So all waves potentially can become a particle, but when only when they have certain condition.
No, certain interaction point.
Interaction.
There is no condition.
No.
At the end, they'll find a match. And when they find a match, they interact. You see, there are two ways which in the future, in the coming weeks, are going to more detail. Two things can happen to a wave or to a particle. One is that, as we just saw in the animation, they become a plasma. Yeah? in their attraction. And there is a way which happens in most of the structure, even in your body at every second, every minute, is that the wave or the energy plasmatic condition, not in the matter state, as a gas state, become added onto. There are two types of interaction in the universe. One you add onto, which becomes a same plasma in a higher strength, and one that you interact with, which becomes a plasma. In a GANS structure, we add two, but within the same structure. In the particle physics, or in a physics, in the matter state, they interact with each other that they become a plasma. You can load up on each other, or they interact to become a plasma. A GANS, what we see is a plasma with many fields, packages structured inside it, like a sun. This is a very fine terminology in the world of the physics, the nuclear physics, and into cosmology, in the physics of cosmos fields interaction, which when we come to it, maybe in 2 or 3 years time in teaching, because I don't see mankind becoming developed to understand it so early. Maybe in 2 or 3 years time, if we carry on with the teaching, we'll start speaking about the interaction of the fields of the plasma within the structure of the cosmos. It is part of the cosmology, deep space travel, that I don't see, if we start a discussion, will be understood. Where we show how energies sit inside each other as a package in a GANS. You see, you say it's a CO2. It's not that in chemistry you have a carbon and 2 oxygens. Is amalgamation of the fields inside, where the energy package up to a limit is of the carbon and thereon is of the oxygen. It's just, if you look at it, it's like a funnel, but curving and dynamically rotating. And in fact, if you bring an oxygen, it still works within the center oxygen, which is the field strength. This is the science of plasma physics in the cosmology, that we use these for deep space, what we call transmutation, where we create matters of the plasma in the dimension of the transmutation of the fields. It's a very deep, I've written some article papers about this, which is not published, but it's in some of the, what I call USB sticks, which I explain this in a very touchy way, because when I wrote it some 20 years ago, it could not be understood, and I don't see that we have scientists who can cross that line to understand it, because it brings in another way of what you call transfer of the field in the dimension of the universal process, which allows man to travel in the structure of the unicos, not within the not inside the universes, but within the universes. And man needs that to understand more about the shape of the wave, as you call it, or the shape of and the interaction of the plasma. So maybe in 2 or 3 years time, if we go the way we start teaching so fast after March, when we bring the new understanding into it, maybe we go that way.
Yeah, because I was trying just to understand the link between my wish emotions, I mean the wave of emotions, and the cosmic ray, how I can
Your emotion is a plasma.
this.
Your emotion is not
Yeah,
a
I
wave.
know. Yes, it's a plasma. I understood. Everything is plasma in this world.
No, it's from You see, your emotion is plasma because it's created from the fields of the physical soul and the soul of the man. It cannot be wave. It's a particle, it's a plasma. It cannot be. Our emotion, that's why it can change. It can have dimension, it can have strength. Because it is not a wave. Wave comes to be, to pass. But emotion is a creation of the fields without tangibility, which is a plasma. And because of its plasmic condition, you can have changes in it, strength in it, and you can position it.
It's dark matter, you mean?
There is no dark, it's very clear and white.
Not dark. How do you call not dark?
It's a principle.
Yeah.
It's a principle energy. Any other question? Thank you very much.
Sorry, I am a auto cosmologist. I study on my own because I love physics, and I think that you are the only person who can answer to my questions. And
sorry about that.
We can understand each other in the future. Maybe I will be enrolled as a student in private.
One new Lena, who has a hand up here and also has a question in the Q&A. So perhaps we can allow them to go ahead and speak.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello. Kalispera from Greece. It was quite interesting to follow all this conference and this new knowledge for me. Actually, I wanted to figure out how plasma through the magnetical field is working. What is the function of the plasma with the magnetical field for the human body? First question is this. And in relation with our emotional DNA, let's say.
Yes. The gases of plasma is a dynamic structure of fields. And it's literally like a rotating ball, like Earth. Earth is a plasma. And when you have such a condition, they continuously interact with other fields which are dynamic again in their environment. And in that process, the interaction of the fields will release or absorb both fields as in different strength or maybe the same strength. It's very much like a ball which you rotate. Depends on how fast you rotate it over your head, changes the noise. And it's the same thing, it's the dynamic field, but instead of the noise, that noise has come from interaction of the fields within the ball with its environment. That's how easy it can be explained or simple way. Plasmas are not a static ball, they're not a static entity. They're dynamic. And they interact with this condition, with their environment. They are as much spread fields out as they take in is another one way. And we see this one in the structure of the magnets. When you put a magnet, which is a static field in a way, but it's still dynamic because they go out of the magnet, you see the iron doesn't stick all in one place, all of the surface. It has gaps in. And in that gaps is where the fields go in. Even if it's very fine, it's a plasma is a living entity. It takes and it gives. It takes of the higher order, so it needs a smaller gap, and it gives of the lower order, well, so it's bigger. It creates more span. And your second question, can you repeat it, please?
Yes, as consider now plasma in relation with our human organism and our emotional DNA. I just want to figure out the diversity. How, okay, you explained to me how is functioning plasma according to our normal body, but I want to understand the fine difference, how it's function about the emotional part of us.
Plasma of emotion is exactly the same as plasma of any matter, as the other GANs, but is not at the strength that physically we can see it. But we have equipments and systems, and in the future, most probably, better systems that we can see the emotion, the plasma of the emotion, the light it creates, the information it gives. It's the same. It's just not in the physical, tangible dimension. And it is a fraction of the field, the strength of the emotion and the soul together in interaction. And depending on the strength of which one is stronger, we feel the emotion in different way. The strength of the soul never changes. Is the strength of the soul of physicality or the emotion which comes through the physicality, which in interaction with the field of the soul will lighten up. You feel a weaker feeling or you see a stronger feeling. It's very much like the interaction of the field of the earth and the sun. In the morning is very weak, is very light. But when it's daylight, when it's facing with a lot of energy, you feel the warmth. You are in the noontime. And it's the same. But this time, the fields of the emotion come by a strength. And depending on the strength which is brought, the energy is being brought from the inner being to interact at a given position with the field of the soul. It dictates how strongly we feel that. Is it the morning sun or is it the full sun, and how we react to it. If it's simple, something we just have sympathy, and if it is very strong, we cry and we show a lot of emotion. But in fact, it's a strength of how much the physical soul has brought information to interact with the sun. And at each part of our brain, we have detector sensors for that specific bandwidth of strength. And when it reaches that, we call that bandwidth, let's say, happiness or joy. If it's a slightly different, we call it sadness. If it's a slightly different, it could be something else. So scientifically now we can pattern the brain. And scientists from Cambridge have done a program with it because I've used it. I've not used it, I've been there when it's been used. You can say the emotion, you can measure it now.
Yes, of course, for different regions in brain sectors, dopamine, and all these things that brain is including.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your answers. Now is more delighted to my brain. And I have another question. If I can ask, may I ask you or
Yes, carry on.
somebody?
Can I ask you what is your background, please?
Yes, of course. Actually, I'm a physiotherapist, and despite that, I'm also a journalist in Greek media and in
Are
Canadian
you
media as well.
Are you the lady who's asked for documents or pictures to publish?
Yes, correct.
Thank you very much. Yes,
You're
we'll give it
welcome.
to you. Yeah, thank you very much. I received a message yesterday on our network. I will send you the picture. Thank you very much.
Beautiful.
Yes. Yes. What's your next question?
I have make a small study about you through all the details. Your assistant, Mr. Tech, can also give me the permission to do so. So I saw that you are involving a lot with humanity projects.
Yes.
And I want to describe us also this other aspect of you. When you realize that you have to offer something to humanity by your side, by your truth. What is this exactly? A better condition of life, of course, if we're going to understand the diastemic and cosmological theory in praxis of the human life. But I have the feeling that you can offer something in a more higher level that is going to be an holistic approach. So can you describe us also this side of you about the humanity? Because you're a fighter of light about humanity.
First of all, it goes back to the childhood. I come from a well-off background. I was educated in a private education in Iran, and in a very specific way. Being in an Islamic country, I was brought up by the Christians and Zoroastrians and the Jews in the same class. And the ethos of my school was we are all equal. Doesn't matter what we believe in behind the door. And being brought up in such a culture with the Zoroastrians and I came to see the truth, that they're all the same. And in that process, becoming a nuclear physicist, striving to reach the knowledge of the physicality and discovering the gravity, because gravity was an enigma. Then it came to the point in midlife, I became wealthy enough that the wealth has no meaning. It wasn't satisfying anything, except that you could physically help some people, but with the knowledge you could save a lot and do a lot. And in the process of the development of the technology from young age, it became fulfillment to cover everything, that a man becomes independent. And in around 2000, in completing, understanding the process of the gravity and start building the first reactors and the first processes, you could see this knowledge is a gift and it has to be given to everyone. You couldn't hide it. And in 2004, 2005, I was adamant that I want to get the technology, but I couldn't see how to get it into public that everybody knows. And I came across people who wanted to put it in the process of patents. that they can secure it and their financial income from it. And then I studied the patent principle in a bigger scale, and I found that the patents are the best way for me to get my knowledge out, but then open it once it's published internationally. So I waited 3 years till it became 18 months, and then it goes in the European patent publication. And then I released it to all the nations when it was the right time in 2012, 13. And the process is, this is the knowledge of the creator. We are just the container which carries it. We have no claim to it and no possession. So when you're detached, you give. And I'm very much detached from everything. I live a life that it befits the way I lived all the time. But in essence, the knowledge is the knowledge of the creation and the creator. You cannot charge what is not yours, but at the same time, you learn sharing the knowledge brings a lot of comfort to the others who can use it. And you share and they use it, and you see the beauty of it, you allow the people use it. And the more people get involved, and as is now in 15 years, 2005, when we established the Keshe Foundation, in 15 years, we have reached over tens, hundreds of millions of people. And everybody's using it according to their understanding. And I'm not short of anything. And the pleasure of it is when you see people use it to alleviate their souls and live a more comfortable life. And some others use it to create a condition for the others. No claim to anything, but to be able to share. And others like Rick and around the Keshe Foundation, we all live the same way. As one of our friends in the lab yesterday was telling me, bending under the table, he said, these guys going on time, they are not like us, we are missionaries. We believe in what we do. They get paid for what they do. And it's a big difference. We feel it. We have a mission to serve humanity.
Speechless, really. Thank you very much for this answer.
Thank you very much. Any other question, or are we within the time?
Yeah, we're
2 minutes.
Point about getting more guests onto the show. It could, it's the perspective people can do, make that happen.
This is an initiative by, as we have knowledge seekers from all cultures and nationalities and religions, that they bring their own culture and their own leaders in religious or whatever to start understanding the work of the foundation and how the knowledge can be used by the community and the society. And Dr. Azar is behind a lot of this work at the moment in organizing with the churches and with, I think with the, what do you call, the Baha'is at the moment. We're trying to bring, working up all the religions and all the groups with the Iranians and the others to bring religious groups and the governmental groups to work. She's taken this on her shoulder and she's working in the background with it. And it's collective. We had the priest, we had the rabbis, or we have the Iranian religious people who usually come into the teaching on Thursday, on Wednesdays now in the background or in the front. And so we're trying to get a dialogue between people, irrespective of their color, as you understand, they were being a priest or politician. And gradually, we are managing to bring that position forward because it makes sense to them, and in a way, some of them have used it. And this is how we have seen, as I said, with the priest in Brazil, we've seen ayatollahs and mullahs and clergymen in Iran who have saved their lives through using the technology with Corona, and now they don't care as long as it can be spread to save more people in the nation. Even as we speak now, there are meetings in Iran on the levels to bring the technology into rapid development. As Keshe Foundation now is an organization, a registered company, and can do a lot. The beauty of it is they don't look at the color or race or religion. Many of these people want to serve their nations. So if you have religious leaders or others in the university, in the structure of the scientific organizations, we need to explain the technology in a new way that they can understand, they can relate to it, not the way it was done up to now. Most of the time that we are teaching and we are going. As the head of the Keshe Foundation always says, both of them, you have to make people to understand. Then they go, you just teach. And this is gradually setting in my, what they call, brain to teach and try to make it to understand that we can go to the next step. Bring as many religious and clergymen and the rest, not to become the supporter of the foundation, but to understand the evolution in the new technology. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that, Mr. Keshe. Okay, I think that wraps it up for today's 358th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, December 10th, 2020.
To już jest koniec tłumaczenia 358 warsztatu Poszukiwaczy Wiedzy. Tak więc jakby ktoś chciał zadać pytanie lub podzielić się swoim zrozumieniem, to zapraszam. Jeśli nie mamy pytań, nie ma wypowiedzi, to kończymy na dzisiaj. Jeszcze chciałbym wszystkim życzyć zdrowych, spokojnych świąt oraz wesołych. Tak więc tym razem spotkamy się w niedzielę 27 grudnia o 21, a tematem będzie kolejny wykład 359 w całości, tak więc będzie trochę dłużej. Tak więc zapraszam na kolejne spotkanie. Dzięki za przetłumaczenie tego warsztatu i tych, które już były przetłumaczone. Tak więc spotykamy się za tydzień. Tak więc dobrej nocy i do usłyszenia.
Nadszedł czas zmiany, przejścia do prawdziwego działania wszechświata. I nadszedł czas, aby zrozumieć, że używamy stanu materii, by osiągnąć poziom zrozumienia duszy człowieka. Teraz rozumiesz, być może, dlaczego Kreator wysłał swoich posłańców w imię tego, co miałeś. To oni przynoszą uszy, aby można było ich użyć, gdy nadejdzie czas Mesjasza. Mogę nauczyć duszę i przesłanie. Nie by się przeciwstawiać, ale poprzez ich zrozumienie, przez tych, którzy stali się Mesjaszami, aby dawać ze swoich dusz, aby ich elewować. Zadanie stało się łatwe. Szkoła jest tutaj i uczniowie są tutaj w oddaniu. Wtedy nie będzie żadnej walki między tym, co nazywają muzułmanami a chrześcijanami. Baranek i lew będą jeść i spać w tym samym gnieździe. Chrześcijanie i muzułmanie będą spać i modlić się w meczecie, w tym samym kościele, w imię ich dusz, nie w imię religii, które są używane do tworzenia tak wielu konfliktów, dla korzyści tych, którzy byli hiperaktywnymi dziećmi. Nadszedł czas, czas zmian jest tutaj. I jak powiedziałem, moje życzenie jest moim rozkazem. Jeśli pragniesz ujrzeć pokój, droga pokoju jest wyłożona bardzo wyraźnie. To dusza świadomości zbiorowej. Poprzez dawanie stworzy tą pozycję zmiany. Nic innego. W duszy człowieka nie ma długopisu. Jestem pewien, że po wejściu do społeczności uniwersalnej nigdy nie zobaczysz niczego zapisanego, ale równowagę pól duszy egzystencji. Staraj się być na tyle pokornym, aby nie stać się aroganckim w mocy, którą zrozumiałeś i posiadłeś. Inaczej wpadniesz w tą samą ścieżkę kościoła i meczetu. To jest to, co obiecaliśmy i to właśnie dostarczyliśmy. Musimy zrozumieć działanie duszy i musimy zrozumieć, że dusza człowieka jest gwiazdą w kosmosie wszechświata. Jeśli porównamy duszę człowieka i tak wielu nas, 7 miliardów w jednym zbiorze, Ziemia jest jak galaktyka z tak wieloma gwiazdami. Kiedy patrzymy w głąb wszechświata, widzimy galaktyki z setkami milionów gwiazd. Podobnie jest z planetą Ziemią. Niesie 7 miliardów pięknych gwiazd, które są duszą człowieka. Niesie z sobą duszę tak wielu trylionów zwierząt, roślin i wszystkiego innego. Jeśli więc patrzą ci, którzy nie widzą fizyczności Ziemi i jej zawartości, co widzą? Widzą galaktykę z wielką ilością pięknych, świecących świateł. Każda według swojej siły. Każda zgodnie ze swoją pozycją. Niemowlę ma piękną duszę, podobnie jak staruszek. Dla tych niefizycznych, którzy nie widzą fizycznego wymiaru tej planety, ale widzą siłę pola, jesteśmy gromadami gwiazd. Ludzka rasa, każda pojedyncza dusza, nikt z daleka nie widzi. To jest dusza rybaka, to jest dusza kosmologa, to jest dusza prezydenta. Wszystkie świecą bez względu na fizyczność. To jest magia. Oto co nowa nauka musi przynieść człowiekowi. Kiedy patrzymy przez naszą duszę, widzimy tylko gwiazdy w innych duszach. I to jest przełom, to jest zrozumienie. Na tym właśnie polegają te wszystkie nauki. Dojście do dojrzałości następnego poziomu, aby zrozumieć daleki kosmos. Wszechświat jest ostrygą dla tych dusz, które służą. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy do wejścia w kosmos. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy, aby stać się częścią uniwersalnej społeczności, która została obiecana. Nigdy nie obiecywałem wam nieba. Zawsze obiecywałem wam elewację człowieka, aby przyłączył się do rodziny. A teraz macie klucz. To wy musicie otworzyć drzwi, aby zrozumieć, że mogę elewować duszę tych ludzi lub milionów innych dusz, że fizyczne życie na tej planecie zmieni się. Wtedy jestem godny bycia częścią społeczności uniwersalnej, by być, aby służyć, aby się rozwijać, by być tam, aby być częścią, że w cyklu życia wszechświata staje się w byciu częścią, staje się częścią totalności. Kiedy człowiek osiągnie ten punkt, pojawi się nowy wymiar w sile duszy człowieka, który jest poza wyobrażeniem zrozumienia życia fizycznego. To jest brama do otwarcia nowego życia w nowym wymiarze, co jest poza wyobrażeniem tego, co mogliście nazwać nowym początkiem, nowym cyklem, gdzie ten cykl niesie ze sobą źródło stworzenia życia we wszechświecie i unikosie. To jest elewacja duszy, aby służyć. Stała się kluczem. Nie tron życia fizycznego. Czas jest odpowiedni, nadszedł czas, aby człowiek przeszedł przez ten proces.